My dog died earlier today. His name was Patrick. He was a Newfoundland mix, about 10 years old, and he was my best friend. It was lung cancer that got him, and as far as we know, it claimed him rather quickly. Up until about 2 weeks ago, he was happy, playful, and full of life. He would always jump up from his favorite spot on the couch to see me when I came home from anywhere, whether I was gone for a couple of hours or 10 minutes. Whenever I sat on the recliner, he was quick to jump on my lap. Imagine that, a 100-pound dog sitting on my lap. He was always in the mood to roughhouse, to play, and he loved going on walks. Mealtime was his favorite time of the day. He would always go gusto on his food, until one day he started leaving leftovers. I knew something was wrong when he was only leaving a few pieces left, and sure enough, each day that went by, he was eating less and less. He didn't want to sit on my lap anymore. In fact, he didn't want to do much of anything. Then one day, he didn't want to eat anything at all. The very next day, we took him to the vet and learned the news. You can freak yourself out every time your pet has a bump, or every time he whimpers in his sleep at a nightmare. But you will never expect it when it finally happens. And you will inevitably cry. You will cry a lot. The vet took some x-rays, took some blood work, and everything pointed towards the end. There really was only one option. Give him steroids to maybe perk him up, but that would only end up prolonging the inevitable. This all happened 3 days ago, and the past 3 days have been the most grueling of my life. He wouldn't take the pills. He didn't want to eat anything at all, not even his favorite foods like apples. What was worse was that his breathing was getting heavier and heavier. I tried to make these last days his best, but he seemed very distant. They say that dogs do that when they know they're nearing their end. I would scratch his favorite spot near his tail. He wouldn't move his leg. I scratched it anyway. He tried to climb to his favorite spot on the couch, and he managed to succeed, but ended up extremely winded. Digging the hole is the hardest part. You need to do it when they're still alive, and halfway through you're realizing exactly what you're doing. Thoughts travel back and forth between dreamlike and startlingly realistic. You think that all of this isn't necessary, and at the same time you know that it is. You get a little nauseous and you have to stop for a while. People ask you when you want to end it. They don't say it like that. They can't, but you know that that's what they mean. You want someone else to make that choice for you, but it's impossible. It's your choice to make. Do you sit there and watch him lying there as he struggles to breathe? Or do you not watch him again, ever, for the rest of your life? You pray for miracles and go through cycles of hope and despair. On the third day, he couldn't get up. He tried, but collapsed. He was far too weak. It was time to make the call. 1 p.m. on August 7th, 2013, he was to be put down. Even if it's the most obvious thing in the world, you still question whether you made the right choice. You'll probably be doing it for a long time to come. The strangest thing is that I could have sworn that he smiled at me after I did that. Him smiling wasn't the strange part. He'd often do what seemed like grinning. At this point, that was probably all he could do to show his happiness. He didn't even seem to have the strength to wag his tail. He was still excited to see his leash, even though it would be the last time he ever got to use it. We never made it to that appointment. Patrick didn't make it. He struggled across the kitchen until he finally collapsed. He took a few breaths, let out a howl, and then he died. I was the last thing that he ever saw. Perhaps someone else can make the choice for you, or at least assure you that you made the right one. It's been a few hours since it happened, and I can already see the differences. From picking out my own food that's fallen on the floor, to seeing that spot on the couch empty. From saying he is my best friend, to saying that he was my best friend. After 8 or 9 years, there are some things you begin to take for granted. It was just so sudden. Even when you do everything to the best of your abilities, you're not asking yourself when's the last time he got to sit on your lap, because you know when. You still believe that you could have done better, that somehow you could have changed things. Or maybe you just want to believe that. In one way, it was a good thing that everything happened so quickly. He didn't get the opportunity to go blind or deaf. He didn't get diabetic, and he could control all of his bodily functions right until the end. I can't say that he died with dignity, but I couldn't imagine a better way to go. At home, surrounded by those you love, and those who love you. That final howl seemed to be one of triumph, for a good life lived, and a good life lost. I'm going to miss you, Patrick. Rest in peace, my good friend. My best friend. I'm going to miss you. Thank you for the 8 or 9 years you made better just by being there for me. Goodbye, forever.